Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Our patient today is the battery. This is Surface Pro 5, which has faulty SSD, or it doesn't see the SSD. Very common problem on Surface Pro 5s. Reflowing doesn't work, and we narrowed it down to probably corroded pins on the SSD on the sandwich. We haven't solved that problem, but that's fine. What we're gonna do today is confirm a theory. So the theory goes, the battery is built from 4 cells. 4 cells are connected to the driver, and the driver is responsible for recharging those cells. On top of that, charger needs to detect if there's any of those cells are faulty. How does it detect that? You can check my video on resetting Surface Pro 4 batteries, which are these, without any tools, meaning just connecting and disconnecting power. I explained a little further how that works. But the short version is it just tries to charge the cell, and it checks the feedback from the cell, the voltage obviously, and if the voltage is not rising, it's considered faulty. If the current drawn by the battery is too high, it's considered faulty. In which case, the driver will remember that and will just disable one of the cells. Now that is the theory, that's how we expect it works, but we don't know. Now the battery communicates, or the board communicates with the battery. The SEM chip is responsible for that, and I have never seen the board that would not have the SEM chip outside of the rest of the circuitry, meaning your PCH, your EC, everything can be built into this package over here, which contains the CPU. That reduces the number of components on the board. However, SEM chip is never inside there. It's always a separate chip. Now on Surface Pro 5, I don't remember, I think this was the one where the SEM chip is on the other side of the board, which makes it a little difficult to debug. On Surface Pro 4, it is right here, next to the digitizer connector, right? Now, what we're gonna do is this board or this computer works perfectly fine. It charges. There's nothing electrically wrong with it. It's grabbing 26 watts right now, so maximum charging current around 1.8 amps at 15 volts. So the battery is fine. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of the cells and we're gonna disconnect it. Then we're gonna reconnect it and see if it's gonna work. Now why are we doing that? One of our friends in Ukraine is struggling with this particular issue, meaning the battery connector corroded, right? These are the cell connectors, right? This goes directly to the cells. We have 4 of them. It corroded, basically detached from the controller. Our friend reattached it, but the cell is still not recognized. And now the theory is that it has been considered faulty, that cell has been considered faulty, and now the battery needs to be reset. Now, how do we reset the battery? That's not something we're going to do right now. Right now we're just going to confirm that it is indeed an issue. But batteries use SM bus to communicate. You can build a microcontroller, say Atmel, what is it called, Arduino. The simplest one, like I have some board over here, right? One of these. And this is Elegoo Uno, but this is basically Arduino Uno. you use I2C library because it's the same communication protocol. I'm not actually sure what exactly is the difference between I2C and SMBus, but I do know that you just initiate the I2C communication or I2C library, and most likely the difference is just in the speed of the data being transmitted. Maybe it's faster, maybe it's slower. As far as how you find the devices on the bus, because you can connect multiple devices. Each device has its own address, which is I think 16 bits per address, or was it? Yeah, I think 2 bytes per address. So each device just kind of registers on the bus with that address, and you can send data packets to that address or receive data packets from that address. You can find pretty good solutions on GitHub, the repositories that will give you the nice API, and you can just call functions and give me the maximum, give me the capacitance, give me the number of cells that you have connected, give me number of cycles that you have run through. And on top of that, there's probably methods to detect, to get the information, the diagnostic data, that will tell you which cell is faulty. And likewise, you can reset it and just tell the battery that this cell is okay, keep charging that cell. As I said, this is the theory because from my experience, I have disconnected cells from these batteries, Surface Pro 4, and I have not observed such behavior, right? So we're gonna confirm it on Surface Pro 5. But the way we want to do it is to actually simulate how it would work. So we need to disconnect the cell while this battery is connected to the board, which is not going to be easy, and I can see that already because there's not much room to actually cut the wire. Right? And now on top of that, I don't know what that is. So it shorts, it doesn't short probably, but it connects through the terminals of the battery. So this could be some kind of fuse, or like over voltage component. If the voltage of the battery grows too high, this will cause a short. I don't know, maybe because I can think of another reason why there would be a component across the terminals of the battery of the cell. Let's check the voltage on all of these. Oh, that is not okay. So this is not the terminal of the batteries because I don't have any voltage here. Yeah, we would expect a cell voltage here. So that's not how they are connected. Here we have 4, 4, 4. Nothing here. Yeah, so there's 4 volts across all of these. Okay, so these two are not terminals of the battery. One is, and the other one is here or here, right? So I have voltage across these two, 4 volts, across these two, 4 volts, across these two, right? So we would need to disconnect this one and this one. That would disconnect one of the cells. That is at least a hypothesis. This seems like most likely a thermistor to check the temperature, most likely. So what we need to do is actually remove the board, remove the battery, and look at it from the other side. That's going to reveal the actual connectors to the cells. That's like just like in this one, right? So they're connected, as you can see, one here, right? And the other cell from here and to here, right? These are spot welded. These are not soldered on. So we're gonna have to cut through the connectors. No other way around it. So let's see if we can relatively quickly remove the battery. We're gonna have to heat up from the back to loosen the adhesive and just remove the battery. We don't have to really worry about the battery because it is, well, I mean, we don't have to break it. It's better if we don't break it, but we're not gonna cry if we do break it. We're also gonna use some IPA in the back to make the process easier. Alrighty, so we have access to our cells. Now I'm gonna disconnect this one because this one, as you can see, I damaged it, and when I was prying it out, I saw a little spark. So what I think happened is there was a little peeling of something sharp that dug into the battery. Maybe it was electrostatic discharge, also could be. I can't really see anything over here in the BIOS because this is the SSD, fault on this one. But if we disconnect it, It's working just fine. Too bad we can't go to Windows, but without the SSD, I don't know. Maybe we could boot it from the USB, maybe. But everything seems to work fine. It's still charging with full current. Because when our friend reached out to me regarding this issue, my immediate response was that it's very unlikely, because I've never had to reset these batteries, and I have had these batteries discharged to complete zero or below safe level, right? And we even had one, that I fixed on the for the customer, right? It wouldn't charge. It came for battery replacement. I just kept plugging it in, and eventually enough energy went into the cell that the SAM chip decided that it is good, or the battery controller. Although I don't think there is a specific controller over here on these batteries. I don't see any. I mean, there's one chip. I can show you right now because my scope disconnected because I pushed the cabling over there. Doesn't matter. There is one chip on it, and that is the chip that definitely stores number of cycles and that kind of stuff. So can it also store the information that one of the cells is faulty and it will not charge it? It's possible, but this kind of I don't want to say it proves that it cannot be done, or it proves that it's not the case. It still might be the case, but it's very unlikely. So I don't think. So here's the deal. If you have this issue, and one of the connectors corroded and disconnected the cell, you reattach the cell and it doesn't work. It's more likely that the cell is actually faulty. And in this case, because I know you connected or you checked the voltage on the cell, and the voltage on the cell is 4 volts, which is correct. Bless you. That doesn't mean that the cell is not faulty, because other than the voltage, we also control the current. So if that cell is grabbing too much current, that would explain why one of the connectors was corroded through. There's probably too much current going through it. Maybe faulty connection that was not adequate for this current draw. And that's what that's what the battery detects. Too much current going to one of the cells, the cell is considered faulty, and it will no longer charge. I think that is what the problem is, not the need for reset. However, as I said, you can go ahead and hook up data and clock to the battery, to the microcontroller, and initiate I2C connection. And as long as you know, well, actually, you don't even have to know the address of the battery, because you can just iterate through devices connected to I2C. And if that's going to be the only device, then the first device you find, that's the battery. So that's probably what I would do, but it seems like it's not the battery, it's not the controller issue, it's not the protocol issue, it is the issue of the cell itself. Well, I hope that answers your question. That was a quick one. Now, as far as updates on day 17, again, not much, but I started, so after updating my resume, I started applying to local jobs, right? I consider that it's having less competition, because first of all, not many people want to work in the office or hybrid. Second of all, actually that's the main yeah, the competition. Well, so first of all, not everybody wants to work remote, wants to work in the office. Second of all, there's how many of the engineers like me are here in this area, in Atlanta area, right? So I think it's going to be more successful. I did receive a request to do the assessment, I think, or it's marked as for 10 minutes. So it's probably a coding test, like automated coding test, probably from Codility. So I'm gonna jump on that, and I have a call. So the recruiter reached out to me from the company. The job offer is not exactly up my alley because it's something with networking engineer, something like that. It's not exactly my area of expertise. I mean, I could probably, well, nah, it's not my area of expertise, right? Yeah, I can do a lot of stuff regarding networking. Obviously, as an engineer, you always have to be aware of how stuff works and stuff, and how networking works, and be at least aware of plenty of technologies. But that doesn't make you proficient, and networking is a whole specialty, right? Just like backend engineering in my case, it's a profession. It's a whole specialty. I'm not specialized in networking, so I don't think I would be good for that one. But the guy said that based on my resume, they often look for someone like me. So maybe not this particular one, but we'll see. Maybe something else will come up. And that was indeed a remote. I don't even remember where they're from, but I have a call at 4:30 today. Kind of late hour for me. I'm an early bird, so 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm usually pretty tired already, but it all depends on what I've been doing. And past few days, not yesterday, but before, I was working until like midnight on that side project. I'm waiting for the feedback and the payment. So that's what's been blocking me with updating my resume and continuing to apply. So I started applying again yesterday. Yeah, and I'm gonna apply to few more jobs today. I cleaned up my resume on Indeed, because Indeed will just kind of scrape your resume and just transform it into their kind of resume. But it was messy. It was like the dates were all wrong, and like four jobs were the same regarding the dates and stuff, and positions were like it was a mess. So I had to clean that up. I cleaned it up, and now I'm gonna start applying again with corrected resume. Before I just went, like minimum effort, right? So now I'm putting a little bit more effort into it, and we'll see if the results will change, hopefully. And local jobs. It might be that I'll be hybriding 2 or 3 days a week, traveling to the office through Atlanta traffic. If you're not from here, if you don't know what Atlanta traffic is, 85 and 75, then you're lucky. But if it's only like 2 or up to 3 days a week, I can endure. And it also depends on what the money is going to be. I've looked at the offer. What was it? I don't remember. Something with PHP engineering, something like that, or backend. I don't remember. Maybe full stack engineer, full stack developer. But the brackets were from like 65,000 to 85,000, and I don't know. I mean, if this was like 3 days a week, total work 3 days a week, then maybe I would definitely take that. But full time, and I think that was in the office. It was in the if 5 days in the office for 85K. mm, that would be a huge step down for me, and I don't know if I could make it work, because it's not even about the money. It's about the time. I would, in exchange for that 85K, and that's net or that's gross. So would be maybe 70, maybe 65, and that would actually hit my account. For that kind of money to exchange pretty much 5 days out of the week, because traveling back to and back from the office, that probably takes 9, maybe 10 hours out of the day. That's a lot. And being in the office, it's obviously I can't do anything else. Because even working remotely, even working 8 hours remotely, you still can fit in some other stuff in the day. That you have to, that either you have to do or want to do. You can, it's different. So for me to travel to the office 5 days a week, that would have to be a lot more money. So that definitely doesn't work for me. But that's what it is. So we'll see. I get plenty of emails from Indeed now after I updated my resume and cleaned it up. So I'll look into those. I actually received like 6 suggestions today. Most of them are actually not up my alley. Like Ruby on Rails development, that's not something that I want to do. Again, I specialize in certain things. I'm getting too old to now just completely switch the stack from LAMP or Java or C# to Ruby. There's plenty of offers for Python engineers, and I've had some experience with Python, so I can find my way around. But I was a team leader, right? I wasn't a hands-on engineer. Obviously, I did a lot of stuff hands-on, but my job was to just coordinate and manage, not to actually develop in Python. But I've read a lot of code in Python. I've seen a lot of issues, and I'm familiar with the infrastructure that Python requires. So it's not like I'm completely fish out of the water in Python technology, but it's not my domain, and I'm not proficient in that. Ruby on Rails, on the other hand, is like completely outside of my expertise or my experience or anything. So I don't think I want to do that. I don't think I would want to do that. Plus, it's not like, I can switch to some other language, but it would have to be compiled language. So if I have to switch full time to Java or C#, that's fine. I'll do it. But to switch from PHP to Python or to Ruby, nah. I mean, Python is a great tool, but it's a great tool for developing quickly and like tinkering and stuff. You can, in one short Python script, you can do a lot of stuff that you need to spend a lot more time and a lot more code in other languages like C# or Java. But it's the same capabilities. Unfortunately, PHP is not like Python, so especially when it comes to operating on the primitives or on the bitwise operations and basically the binary operations. PHP is a little lacking. In Python, you can do it very quickly and very efficiently. That's why Python is preferred language for especially the security researchers, penetration testers, because you can quickly exploit something, or you can exploit something by quickly writing a short Python script that will do what you need it to do, right? Plus, it comes with batteries, and you have plenty of libraries that you can pull, like the ME analyzer for the BIOS binaries, right? That's written in Python because the script itself is relatively short. You just have to pip install a few libraries that it utilizes, and that's it. And it can read perfectly your BIOS binary. So that's why Python is great for those solutions, but it's not very scalable language in my opinion. You do have to cover it with a lot of testing for it to even be considered stable, and a lot of that stuff is addressed by compiler itself. That's the same with PHP and with Python. You don't have a compiler, so the bugs are not revealed until the code is being executed. Even syntax errors. Syntax is evaluated at the file load, so if there is a syntax error, then the PHP script will not load. As far as Python, I think Python script will run until it encounters syntax error. Not too sure about that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter because compiler is what actually addresses that and removes that need for extensive unit testing. Not to say that you don't have to unit test when you're using compiled language, but that's an additional check that you do. Does it compile? Right? There's your first test. It passed because it compiled. Anyways, that's it for my updates for today. We'll see on Monday what we're gonna hear from the job offers I apply today, and I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you more than you know, and I shall see you in the next one, which is probably tomorrow.